WINS, WINS-FM and HD1 New York.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
More people get their news from 1010 Wins than from any other radio station in the nation. Tanya Mercado's our service day. Justin Schrager's at the editor's desk. And I'm Kevin Rincon.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM, New York.
Good afternoon. 31 degrees. It's partly cloudy at 2 o'clock. I'm Paul Murdane. Here's what's happening. Well, the sun feels nice, but we're bound for real field temps tonight around 0. We'll check in live with AccuWeather and welcome home New Yorkers stepping off planes from their sunny, warm vacations.
From 90 degrees to 20 degrees, it's so much different.
Is it depressing?
It's absolutely.
New details of a case of a death by dog at a home on Staten Island this afternoon. MLK Day 2026, a day that carries new meaning among the many, saying that the cause is under pressure. A break in at least some city neighborhoods for those in the market for a new home. We'll tell you where. New info on how much couples need to make around here to achieve the title stay-at-home parent. Got the Knicks hosting the Mavs coming up at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Nets and Suns tonight. Indiana meeting Miami for the college football championship. Clear skies. We're heading down to 17 tonight. Wins News Time 2:01 as we get you where you need to go, and it's over to Andre Farrow.
And look out for problems on the Williamsburg Bridge heading towards Manhattan. It's the outer roadway where we have all lanes blocked with a disabled vehicle. It's actually a disabled truck, and that's causing some major problems on the westbound side of the Willie B. Now, if you're traveling at the inbound George Washington Bridge, here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. We're around 20 minutes in and 35 to 40 out with the cross Bronx delays. Heavy stuff on the southbound Egan coming down towards Van Cortlandt Park, all the way down to the George Washington Bridge. There's a crash right by the ramp to bring you onto the cross Bronx and the George, so you're going to need some time. I would go with the Henry Hudson Parkway or the Bronx River Parkway if you're driving a regular car. Palm River Drive delays are rough from the McCombs Dam Bridge up to the cross Bronx. Lincoln Tunnel inbound is going to be around 15 minutes. It's mostly 495 action. Outbound is wide open, but the outbound Holland, that's going to be about 25 minutes trying to get to the Jersey City side. And eastbound 139 through Jersey City has a lot of volume. You want to go with the Newark Bay extension to avoid that slowdown. The western spur of the turnpike heading down just south of Route 3, heading towards Newark Airport. There's also a disabled vehicle that's going to slow down your ride there as well. And trying to get into Queens, as I mentioned, the Triborough with Rogs Neck and Whitestone, you hit the trifecta. It's going to be a slow process. Southbound 95 in the Bronx by Country Club Road is busy. Look out for heavy delays in Connecticut, southbound and northbound between exits 2 and 8, passing Coscob, Greenwich, and Stamford. Andre Farrow, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, that breeze you're feeling is carrying in the Arctic cold for the tri-state area, freezing solid that lovely, fluffy coating of snow that fell over the weekend and extending the lifespan of the ice that's forming in the sunshine out there today. It's pretty, but when is it going to warm up? Let's get the answer to that now in this live update from AccuWeather and our meteorologist, Brian Thompson. Brian?
Yeah, Paul, it is going to warm up a little bit as we get toward the middle of the week, but certainly the next 24 hours or so are going to be very cold across the area. We have temps in right around the freezing mark right now. We have the sunshine, but it's not helping much with that breeze blowing. Wind is gusting as high as 25 to 30 miles per hour. The real field temperature in the city is currently 19. We're heading for a low temperature tonight around 17. Real field temps, though, will end up near 0 as the wind will remain pretty elevated through tonight and tomorrow as well. And so high temperatures only reaching the mid-20s tomorrow. Real field temperatures no better than the single digits, low teens. Like I said, there will be some relief, at least briefly, into Wednesday and Thursday. Highs will be back up near 40. Paul?
All right, Brian Thompson from AccuWeather, and a lot of us around here are giving the New York side eye to those among us with a midwinter tan after their vacation to a warmer climate. Mac Rosenberg now, a one-man welcoming committee at LaGuardia Airport.
It's back to reality for tri-staters returning from a midwinter getaway. That's Salem Sakeley from New Jersey, just back from a trip south.
50 degrees is different, much different. It was cold in Fort Lauderdale, but I was in Aruba, so it's different. From 90 degrees to 20 degrees, it's so much different.
Is it depressing?
It's absolutely.
I broke the news to him that it'll be in the teens tomorrow. He says he's used to it. Francis, here from Miami, got that cold shock.
Yeah, it bites you a little bit in the face. Your hands feel like they're going to fall off, but it's worth it.
And that winter bite is only going to get stronger tomorrow. Mac Rosenberg, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM at LaGuardia.
And keep it locked into 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM for the latest on the cold and maybe some more snow from AccuWeather. It's always good advice to watch your wallet. Cash, handbags, and wallets have been grabbed in a series of daring robberies under investigation in Manhattan. The thefts began back on December 31st, where a man in crutches using an ATM on East 28th Street lost $100 to a thief who just grabbed the cash and made a run for it. A woman in a wheelchair lost her wallet on New Year's Day on 6th Avenue nearby. The NYPD says a 66-year-old man lost more than $300 while using an ATM on West 34th Street when someone grabbed his money on the morning of January the 9th. And then in the afternoon of the 15th, a thief snatched the wallet of a woman from her hand on 7th Avenue near 26th Street. No injuries in these 4 incidents, according to the NYPD, and they're looking for the perps. A horror show in a home on Staten Island where a man was killed in a dog attack in a home in the Newdorf neighborhood. And let's get some more details on what we're learning now. Some new details on this story coming in. Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 Wins reporter, joins us live from the scene. Mary Lynn.
Yeah, well, that's right. Police are actually right outside of the home right now. They're investigating. They say a man who lived inside of this home was mauled by a pit bull that also, we believe, lived in this home. Now, police are saying that this attack happened inside of the house, and we know that the victim had severe lacerations to his thigh and to his arm. And speaking to neighbors, they say this dog was constantly outside. It constantly was barking, and sometimes it wasn't even let in the house overnight. And we also know that sources are telling us multiple 911 calls have been made to this home over the years with noise complaints, disputes, assaults, you name it, over the last 2 years. So it was a home that police were constantly in and out of, and investigators right now say this is all still an active investigation. The ASPCA has taken the pit bull into custody. Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM. We're live in Newdorf.
On this MLK Day, it seems more important than ever to consider the gifts of the life of Martin Luther King Jr. His life, philosophy, and faith serve as powerful lessons and reminders that seem so greatly needed in our times. As always, New Yorkers are responding to calls for a day of service, and it was a full house for the annual celebration of King's life at the Brooklyn Academy of Music.
Folks here say we need Dr. Martin Luther King, his heart, his message, now more than ever.
This day is the greatest day in the nation. That's how powerful MLK was and still is.
Julius there says he's more than inspired by MLK.
His name, his legacy, his ideology, his theories, journey will transcend time.
So he's all in on the festivities here at BAM, where others share the country feels divided.
This is just a reboot. This is what I've always been preaching and saying, what the 100-year theory is, where every 100 years or so, everything just gets regurgitated and recycled.
But he's forward-thinking, like the Reverend.
This is the new civil rights right here.
Amanda Alexander, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM at BAM.
Newark's Joseph Cardinal Tobin is among the signers of a joint statement urging the Trump administration to follow a moral compass when it comes to foreign policy. In their letter, Tobin, along with Chicago's Blaise Kupik and Robert McElroy of Washington, D.C., say the U.S. approach is lacking in moral vision. They cite Venezuela, Greenland, and Ukraine, saying the U.S. actions raise basic questions about the use of military force and the meaning of peace. The Cardinals' communique is the second time that leaders of the U.S. Catholic Church have raised their voices against the Trump and White House. In November, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops condemned the mass deportation and vilification of migrants. Pope Leo denouncing the undermining of the post-World War II world in remarks earlier he delivered this month. Nurses walking picket lines in today's brutal cold and marking the start of their second week off the job, and there's no sign they'll be back inside soon.
The nurses are out in numbers, picketing and marching despite the bitter cold.
They're trying us. They're trying us because they know it's cold. We're not going to be survived, but they forget we are nurses. We are resilient.
And on this Martin Luther King Day, supporters are adding their voices. Ulysses Williams brought his 2 school-aged children to show them what Dr. King's fight was about.
There's nothing to be more in line with or consistent with Dr. King's legacy than, anti-poverty message and supporting collective bargaining, equal pay.
The Reverend Al Sharpton also joining the nurses who are in day 8 of their strike. Marla Diamond, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM at Mount Sinai, Morningside.
Few clouds out there, 31 degrees, west wind at 8 miles an hour, feeling like 24. Again, 31, we're heading down to 17 for the low tonight. Maybe you're a little bit rusty when it comes to writing love notes. Roses are red, violets are blue. We have some info that maybe could be helpful for you. Showing you my skill level here. It's 2:11. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's the guy with the traffic skills now. It's Andre Farrow.
That was very Dr. Seuss of you.
In its own way.
Yeah. If you're traveling on the Garden State Parkway in New Jersey, we have debris on the road. It's southbound exit 140. One lane is knocked out. There's a garbage bag. If it's full of money, it's mine, by the way. Traveling on the New Jersey Turnpike, the Western Spur, this is southbound north of Interchange 15W, heading down towards Newark Airport. The right lane is blocked with a crash. And then there's a truck fire on the Turnpike. It's the outer roadway northbound south of Interchange 13. The right lane is blocked. So lots going on in New Jersey right now. Inbound George Washington Bridge, here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. You're looking at 20 minutes in, 40 minutes out with the Cross Bronx delays. Working on that crash, southbound Deegan, heading down from Van Cortlandt Park to the Cross Bronx, right by the George Washington Bridge ramp. A couple of cars are involved in the crash right there. And then the Lincoln Tunnel is around 10 minutes round trip. The outbound Holland, start to see some improvements, but it's going to cost you at least 20, about 20 on the inbound side as well. Huge delays in Queens, East and West LIE between the area of the Clearview and Woodhaven Boulevard, and the Jackie Robinson Parkway is slow from Woodhaven Boulevard to the Q. Andre Farrow, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Now back live to AccuWeather with the latest on the cold, and here's our meteorologist, Brian Thompson.
Yeah, Paul, watching the cold building in. Temperatures only in the low 30s this afternoon. We have winds gusting 20 to 30 miles per hour. The AccuWeather real field temperature in the city currently 19. As we're heading for a high of 34 this afternoon with sun and again some clouds mixed in. But any of those clouds will dissipate into tonight. We'll see a mainly clear sky. The wind is going to persist, though, and it's going to feel bitterly cold. 17 the low tonight. So real field temps falling towards 0 with that gusty wind. And tomorrow's going to be even colder than today. Like today, we'll have a lot of sunshine, but that wind is going to be very gusty. High 25. Real field temps in the single digits and low teens. The wind eases up tomorrow night. Not as windy on Wednesday. Sun will mix with increasing clouds. A high of 37, so not as cold either. Up to 41 on Thursday with some sunshine before it turns pretty cold again as we head toward the weekend. 31 degrees right now. It is mostly sunny in Midtown. We're heading up to 34. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
House hunters around the city are catching a break finally. Street Easy says the number of homes hitting the market is rising in a couple of neighborhoods. Brighton Beach can boast of the biggest change. Inventory there is up by nearly 49% in a single year. If you're a Flushing fan, this new report says inventory there has jumped by 48% in a single year. Bushwick, Midwood, Brooklyn land in third and fourth place with Rego Park in Queens rounding out the top 5. Street Easy's market report looks at changes in mortgage rates, which apparently are luring buyers and sellers back to the market. They say more homes than usual went into contract starting in December. Buyers are hoping it's the start of the trend. If you want to be a stay-at-home parent, there's new data on how much it takes to make that a reality. A smart asset study finds New Yorkers need a single earner pulling down more than $96,000 a year. In Connecticut, it's around $90,500 annually. In New Jersey, it's just under $90,000 a year. We boast about our immunity to the hype over tonight's college football championship, but you should see the ticket prices for the last minute. The cheapest ones we found on StubHub this morning were more than $3,700. There are reports of seats listing for as much as $30,000. Fans tell us, though, it's all worth it, as Indiana could notch a spot in the history books.
The undefeated and top-seeded Indiana Hoosiers will be gunning for their first-ever championship tonight when they battle the University of Miami Hurricanes in South Beach. Indiana head coach Curt Cignetti expects the Canes to come out fighting.
They really play the game with tenacity, intensity.
Miami Hurricanes coach Mario Cristobal says several key principles have gotten his team this far.
Being the most excited, the most energetic team on the field, and that pre-snap and post-snap discipline had to be at the forefront, and that ball security couldn't be compromised.
Erica Herskowitz reporting there. Game time 7:30 on ESPN. Nearly 65,000 fans are expected. President Trump is expected to be among them. Measles is on the march in South Carolina. Fast-moving outbreak there has now hit the Clemson campus.
There is a confirmed case of measles on the campus of Clemson University. According to college officials, the infected person, who doctors say can spread the disease 4 days before and 4 days after a rash begins, is being quarantined while contact tracing goes on. Clemson Student Health Services Department says nearly 98% of Clemson students have provided proof of measles immunity.
Sherry Preston with that report. The South Carolina Department of Health on Friday had said that the total caseload in the state since last fall had climbed to 558 with 124 new cases since last Tuesday. The majority of patients reported in South Carolina are children and teenagers, and most are unvaccinated. That's according to the state's Department of Public Health. All of this following changes in federal recommendations on childhood vaccines.
Pediatricians across the country say parents are increasingly anxious and confused after the overhaul. Doctors tell the Washington Post families are asking whether shots will still be available, safe, and covered by insurance. Most doctors say they're sticking with the recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics, but the extra time they're spending reassuring parents leaves less time to discuss other basics of child health.
That's Stacy Lynn reporting. 31 degrees, couple of clouds out there. Feels like 24 in the breeze. We're heading down to 17 tonight with your top stories and a check of traffic on this Monday, MLK Day, in just a moment. From the vibrant mix of Jackson Heights to the Italian foods on Arthur Avenue, we are New York's all-news station.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
31 degrees. It's partly cloudy at 2:20. I'm Paul Burdane. Here's what's happening. Beautiful but brutal. Local AccuWeather warning of real feels around zero tonight. High of just 25 for tomorrow. New trouble for a local landlord that settled up with the city for more than $2 million. Valentino, who made fashion a grand expression for the stars and the rest of us, has died in Rome at the age of 93. President Trump says protecting Greenland is vital, but he complains the Nobel Peace Prize snub has something to do with it, too. Mickey Mouse can buy another house. Disney is smiling. Zootopia 2 sets a box office record. Got the Knicks hosting the Mavs coming up at 5. Nets hosting the Suns tonight. Indiana meets Miami for the college football championship tonight. Clear, windy, and cold. Low tonight of 17, feeling near zero. We'll check in with AccuWeather in just a moment. Right now, we get you where you need to go. And here's Andre Farrow.
Let's head to Long Island. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. Southern State Parkway delays eastbound Eagle Avenue to at least the Meadowbrook. Not much on the LIE and Northern State Parkways. A good ride throughout Suffolk County as well. Queens is a different story, especially trying to get into Queens. That's going to be a rough go over it on the Whitestone, Throgsneck, and Triborough bridges. All three have volume Queensbound. And the Triborough Bridge, there's a stall on the Manhattan span heading towards the Harlem River Drive, so you're going to need that extra time as well. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. At least 15 minutes in at the George Washington Bridge. About 30 on the outbound side because of the Cross Bronx delays. Southbound Deegan remains slow because of the crash on the ramp to bring you onto the Cross Bronx and the George Washington Bridge. You have delays to go back to Van Cortlandt Park. Now you have bigger delays on the southbound Sawmill, passing McLean Avenue and heading down to the Riverdale section of the Bronx. There's also a stall on the westbound side of the Cross County Parkway right around Yonkers Avenue, approaching the Sawmill by exit 1. Lincoln Tunnel's around 10 minutes round trip. Outbound Holland will cost you 15, inbound around the same. Western Spur, southbound crash before you get down towards Newark Airport. So you're going to have delays to go all the way back to Route 3. Try to use the Eastern Spur if you can. Andre Farrow, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Hello, it's Scott Shannon inviting you to check out my True Oldies channel playing the greatest hits of the 60s and 70s. Download the free Odyssey app, search Scott Shannon, and lock it in.
Well, it's pretty to look at from the inside today. That snow from the weekend storm seems safe for the next couple of days, thanks to the cold that has been rushing in. So how cold and for how long? Let's check in live with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Brian Thompson. Brian?
At least here in the near term, Paul, the worst of the cold's going to be between the next 24 and 36 hours. So we've seen temperatures around 30 this afternoon. AccuWeather real field temperatures, though, have been stuck in the teens with a pretty gusty breeze. But the wind may even pick up a little bit more as we head through tonight and tomorrow. With lows in the teens tonight, highs in the 20s tomorrow. We'll see real field temps fall towards zero tonight, and then those real field temperatures in the single digits and low teens tomorrow. Tomorrow night will be quite cold, too, but the wind will be diminishing, and then we'll see temperatures bouncing back to near 40 by Wednesday and Thursday before it turns cold again heading into the weekend. Paul?
All right, Brian. He's back with Brian Thompson from AccuWeather in about 10 minutes with the full 4-day forecast for you. And the extreme cold can mean life or death if you're living on the streets. NYC Deputy Emergency Management Commissioner Christina Farrell tells 1010 Wins.
New Yorkers, if they see people when they're out in the evening that seem like they need a little extra help, they can call 311. And outreach teams will be dispatched to help those New Yorkers.
After the weekend snow, there's a reminder, too, from the city for homes and businesses to shovel and treat the sidewalks and walkways outside your place. Get going. The neighborhood bodega cat, long a staple of city life, is closer to protection under state law now. Legislation from Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal, representing the Upper East Side, is on the move. through Albany. It directs New York's Department of Agriculture and Markets to establish health and safety guidelines while authorizing store owners and operators to keep a feline in their business, sometimes for pest controls. That would be okay. And Rosenthal tells 1010 Wins.
My legislation will update the guidelines to allow for keeping them, provided they are cared for in a humane and responsible way.
This bill requires a separate cat zone away from the merchandise and food prep areas for cat naps, while also setting up standards for veterinary care, spaying, and neutering. They're waving the red flag over bird flu in part of Long Island following a grim discovery.
A park-goer says he saw one of the dead geese here at Heckscher Park. In total, town of Huntington officials say 6 geese were found dead, and tests are being done to see if the birds died of the avian flu. John DiLeonardo of Humane Long Island says there is no need to panic.
Avian influenza is naturally occurring in wild birds.
He says, unlike farms, the wildlife would not have to be euthanized.
Wild geese often are asymptomatic. Many of them are immune to this disease, and it's really impossible to contain this virus in the wild. So killing them wouldn't do anything.
Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins, on 92.3 FM on Long Island.
There's some new social media bait today from President Trump for New York's new mayor. The president, in one of his blasts over Truth Social, declared that the New York Stock Exchange plan to move NYSE operations in Chicago to a new fully electronic exchange in Dallas is unbelievably bad thing for New York and a big test for Mayor Zohran Mamdani. The president's media company, though, was among the first to show interest in listing on the new Texas Exchange, which is being launched against a new rival. The SEC approved the new Texas Stock Exchange, which is expected to begin trading this year. It's completely separate from the NYSE. No reaction yet on the Trump post, at least from City Hall. In the city right now, 31 degrees, heading down to 17. And it's time for Bloomberg Money Watch.
As more investors and more money finally pours into women's sports,
you're starting to see a real shift, and with that comes challenges.
Carolyn Tish-Blodgett, governor and lead owner of the National Women's Soccer League's reigning champions, Gotham FC, and founder of sports investor Next3, says the salary battles between U.S. women's soccer and Europe is another sign women's sports are coming of age.
I don't think our league would be as successful as we have been if there weren't other leagues that were competing for talent.
I'm Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
I'm Paul Bernine. Wins News Time, 2:30.
Good afternoon. I'm Lori Madden. Days after the Mamdani administration announced a settlement with A&E, one of the largest landlords in the city, residents of an Upper West Side building, a building that wasn't included in that deal, are sending up an SOS saying they, too, are dealing with years of neglect and violations that need a fix.
Elevators constantly out of service, inadequate heat, and gas shut off for months is what residents living at the Westgate apartment complex are dealing with.
Fed up is not the word.
Ioso says she's at her wit's end.
They don't vacuum the carpets for 1 year now, and in the laundry room we have like 12 dryers. It's out of service.
Mohammed says having the gas off during the holidays really took a toll on his family.
We forced to eat from outside. Like, our kids don't like outside food, but we have to now.
Elected officials say they've drafted a letter to Attorney General Letitia James. They plan on reporting A&E Realty for the poor living conditions tenants have had to deal with for years. Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM on the Upper West Side.
A spokesperson for A&E tells us, quote, "We have been diligent about steadily improving all the old systems in this building since we took ownership, renovating apartments, replacing the roof and windows, and upgrading all the common spaces. Cooking gas outages are extremely complicated to resolve. We know how burdensome this was. This weight is for our residents. We distributed hot plates and issued a monthly rent credit to everyone affected." Wins News Time 2:31. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Andre Farrow.
Trouble on the Western Spur in New Jersey. If you're traveling southbound between Route 3 and all the way down to Newark Airport, the right lane is blocked with a crash. There's also problems in Elizabeth. We have truck routes 1 and 9, a down pole right by the Bayway Circle, and all lanes are closed and detoured, causing a big slowdown there. In Queens, very heavy on the westbound LIE, passing the BQE as you head by the Kosciuszko, heading towards Greenpoint Avenue. There's a stall knocking out a lane. And the BQE basically between Queens Boulevard and the Williamsburg Bridge from the Willie B from the LIE. You're going to need a lot of extra time, and the westbound delays continue on the BQE over by Flushing Avenue. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. We're at least 25 minutes in at the George Washington Bridge from the Turnpike, 35 to 40 on the outbound side. It's all cross Bronx delays. Lincoln and Holland tunnels, 15 minutes out on both inbound are around 10. We do have heavy delays on the southbound FDR with a crash right around 49th Street, causing some northbound rubbernecking delays. I would actually go West Side Highway or go with the local avenues. Andre Ferro, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check now of your AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson.
And Lori, as we head through the rest of this afternoon, we're going to consider to see a good deal of sunshine. Temperatures near or just below the freezing mark. We do have a bitterly cold night in store for tonight, especially with the wind. It's going to be gusty throughout the night. The sky will turn out mainly clear. Low 17 tonight. AccuWeather real field temperatures, though, falling towards 0. And it's going to be a blustery, even colder day tomorrow compared to what we've been experiencing today. Again, a lot of sunshine, but a high only 25. Real feels in the single digits and low teens. Clear and very cold tomorrow night as the wind diminishes. Low 14 in the city. It'll be in the single digits in some suburbs. Temperatures do climb into Wednesday and Thursday. We'll have increasing clouds Wednesday, high 37. And we'll have some sunshine into Thursday. It will be breezy with a high up to 41 before we see another surge of cold heading into the weekend. Mostly sunny and 31 right now in Midtown. The real feels 19, and we're going down to 17 later tonight. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
A giant in the world of fashion has died. Valentino Garavani was 93. His foundation says he died at his home in Rome. Valentino, who founded his design house in 1959, became as famous as his jet-setting clients, living an equally glamorous lifestyle and even making a cameo as himself in The Devil Wears Prada.
How are you? So glad to see you. Thank you for coming. You like the collection? Absolutely.
Among his famous